So essentially what I've done is I've gone into game and I've gone through and I've typed in a large number of games to see if they trade in more than what I can buy them for. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the free trading game collection challenge, the series where I look to build a video game collection without spending any money on it. This is the collection. We've dabbled in a few pops as well, although they were mine to begin with, but I bought them off myself. If you want to go watch a previous episode to find out how that works, feel free to do so. The playlist for this entire series is linked in the description, as always. Now, if you are new to the channel, what I tend to do is go out with any particular amount of money. The money isn't really the factor here. We go out, we buy whatever we can afford with our personal money. So if you've only got £5 to spend, you need to look for things that is not going to break the bank, no more than £5 that you can buy and either trade in for more or that you can sell for, say, £10, making £5 profit. Then you use that £5 profit to buy video games for the collection. Or you can trade said item in and so on and so forth. I can't remember how much we started with when I go back and check in episode 1. I think it was maybe like £10, £20 at most. And then I started buying things and selling them on, making a profit, taking some of what we buy to trade into CEX, which is our main source of video games here, because it's just, I mean, every other store seems to be closing down. However, in today's episode, we are going to utilize what is left of game to get more credit in CEX. This isn't a new thing. I haven't invented this. I've done it plenty of times before, and I'm sure a lot of people have as well. But in this instance, it works out quite well, so I am going to show you. This, by the way, is a McDonald's figure from 2005 that I found in the cupboard, so I'm going to put on the shelf. I mean, it's paid for itself by now anyway. McDonald's. Brilliant. So if you do go on to enjoy today's video, please consider hitting that like button because it really does help me out a lot. And of course, subscribe for future content. So today what we're going to do is we're going to go to, where are we? Gloucester. And there we are going to go to game. We're going to have a little look around. It's going to be a lot of me typing into my phone. Not that you can, I'm going to show you any of this. I'll just show you looking at me looking at games. But with game, of course, they like to stick stickers every inch of the box. And that includes the barcode because they use their own barcodes because why not? So you can't scan these games into the CEX app, which is very frustrating unless you open it up and move the sleeve down, and it's just effort. So I just start typing them in. So what I'm going to do is go through the 3 for 2 section, and I'm going to have a little browse and see if I can find anything that's what I would consider to be underpriced. Of course, it is 3 for 2, but you do get the cheapest item free. So in this instance, we are looking for things, I would say no more than £8 really, because it's highly unlikely that Game are going to price something up for, say, $7.99 that is going to trade in for much more than £9 or £10. So we are going to be looking for the biggest margin possible. Now, the problem here is when you go hunting for stuff like this, you need to make sure that you have a very patient person with you or no one at all. You also need to make sure that you don't go on a Saturday close to Black Friday, which is kind of what I did. So I went with someone who has patience but not a tremendous amount, and I went on a Saturday at lunchtime. Brilliant. So unfortunately, I didn't spend too much time in this game, and I probably could have found something a little bit better, but I did make profit. So what I'm doing here is, yes, we're going to have to spend money, okay? There's no getting away from it. You are going to have to spend money. This isn't a way to make money, get credit, and walk away with a game for free. You are going to be spending, say, £10 to get £15 or to get £20 in CEX. That's kind of what we're doing here. So we're going to use the cash profit from the series to be able to buy these games. So they're free because the cash profit in the series is how much money we have spare to spend before we actually start dipping into our own pocket, if that makes sense. We're already taking the initial investment that we made on the very first item from the very first episode out of this as well. So quite a few games to look through. I'm mainly looking at Xbox and PlayStation. They do have a Switch section in game. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a 3 for 2 on it. So, and if there, I mean, there might be, but to be fair, I looked and I couldn't really see much of anything. So I kind of just left that alone. And Switch games tend to be quite expensive anyway. Although there could be a decent markup on Switch games when it comes to trading them in. So I probably need to go back to game at some point and do it. And if you do want to enjoy this video, like I said, please consider hitting the like button, because if it does get over, say, I don't know, 225 likes, we will go, that's a very random number, we will go and do this again, but this time I will spend a lot more time looking for the very best deals and the very best games for me to be able to trade in and get the maximum profit from CEX. So it's pretty self-explanatory what I've done. I've gone into game, I've had a look through the 3 for 2 section, and I've typed into the CEX app all these games. Didn't just find the first 3 and that's it, job done. Took me quite a while to do this, but I tried to be as quick as I can. And then I managed to pick up 3 games. So the games I managed to pick up then here, they cost me £12.98 in total. The first one is going to be this, I'm trying to do this while walking because the CEX and the game are actually pretty close. 2 Point Hospital, which was $7.99, but of course like this is going to be part of the 3 for 2. Next game is going to be Man Eater, that was $3.99. And finally, if I can get it, there it is, City Skylines, $4.99. What a banging game, by the way. I'm a big fan of that game. So, 2 Point Hospital trades in for 10. We have Man Eater that trades in for 6, and then City Skylines that trades in for 8. That gives us a total of £24 in store credit for CEX, and it cost me £12.98. Honestly, it is as simple as that. And to be fair, if they had more copies of 2 Point Hospital, for example, we could have had £30 credit for £16, which is nearly a double up. It's so close to being a double up, and they will take, CEX will just take whatever you give them, right? Okay, within reason, they can't be scratched and fallen apart, obviously, but what I mean is, if I went in with 4 copies, 10 copies of the same game, I would imagine that there would be some eyebrows, but I don't think they would reject me. I'm pretty sure that they would just take them. So if you want to buy 3 copies of the same game, Man Eater, for example, and get yourself, what, £18 credit for an £8 spend, you are more than welcome to do that, and if they've got them in stock, why not do that? But City Skylines, very, very good game. I do have it digitally. I would like to own it physically, but on the PlayStation, not the Xbox. I'm going to have a massive shake-up when it comes to what games I'm buying on what consoles and what consoles we actually have in the collection. We're going to shake things up quite a bit going forward, but I'll talk about that in another video. We already have 2 Point Hospital on the PlayStation, and Man Eater is such a cheap game, and again, would probably want it on the PlayStation because that is the biggest collection of games that we have. So what I did was I removed the security seals because Game are idiots. They put security seals on their games. They do it to try and protect themselves. I don't really see how it's going to protect them. I understand the premise behind it, but I just can't imagine that it would ever work for them. But we have to take them off. I tried to peel off a couple of the other stickers as well, the barcodes in particular on the back, so that the CEX staff member doesn't have any trouble scanning these in. And then it was time to have a little look around the CEX store. Now the window itself in Gloucester is so well presented. Everything has its own little corner, and nearly everything is priced individually, which is fantastic because nearly every other CEX that I ever go to, including my local one, not the one I run, obviously, they're awful. They've got Mega Drive games on the bottom right, then they've got them on the bottom left, then they've got them at the top left, and they don't have any prices on them. This store, they know how to price a game. So, well done to them. Have a little flip round here. I'm not looking at PC games, I swear. I'm looking at the Wii U section. They do have a fair few games here that I wouldn't have minded picking up. Now, I don't know why I didn't spend all of the credit. I actually only spend 14 or 15 pounds of this. So I could have bought something a little bit extra on top here. And I think they did have a few GameCube and Wii U games that were tickling my fancy. So there was Mario Strikers there, of course, which we already have but unboxed, but I did buy a reproduction cover, which doesn't look very great. So gonna go through the games very quickly here because there are a few that I wouldn't mind picking up. And I tell you what, my CEX, my local, has got some decent GameCube games in it at the moment. We only have 2 GameCube games in the entire collection. Mine now has the entire set of Resident Evil games. We're talking 2, 3, 0, 4. It's all there on the GameCube, and that's where we want to collect them up until whichever one is the most, I would say most recent, but you know what I mean, the last one on the console, and then we move into the next gen remakes and the actual next gen games themselves. So a few Mega Drive games to look through. The reason I like looking at Mega Drive games, by the way, is because it's probably one of, if not my favourite console of all time. I'm a big fan of the Xbox 360, but the Mega Drive is just a little bit higher in my estimation, and it's because I grew up with it. It's the console that holds the most nostalgia, and it's the game, or it has the games, I should say, that I remember more fondly playing. So the reason why I keep looking at Mega Drive is because of that, and of course I do want to try and build a sizable Mega Drive collection. Now, while looking around this CEX, it was plainly obvious that it was very busy, but also that I wasn't going to have too much credit to be able to go and buy multiple Mega Drive games. So what I did is I was very wise with my credit, and I only spent £15, leaving me with, I think, £9 in store credit to spend somewhere else. So we appear to have reached the climax of the video. Thank you for watching. I'm joking, of course. What game did we pick up? Well, the game in question was obviously a Mega Drive game. It was obvious that I was going to pick one of those up. I just want to try and build out this collection as much as I possibly can. I don't have any room for any more Mega Drive games, including the one that I've bought here today. So we're going to have a reshuffle. And I did say that things are going to change here, and in the way that we pick up games and what games we pick up, etc. It is definitely going to change. And I'm going to talk more about that probably in the next video, because I do have some Black Friday stuff to talk about. Some games have arrived that we've bought on Black Friday that I made purchases for in that specific Black Friday video that wasn't part of this series, and I'll talk about that. But for today, I've spent £15. I have £9 left in credit that we will go out and spend in another episode. But the reason I didn't want to spend it here today was because I was looking at the Mega Drive games, and there were a few that I wanted, but they were all 15 and above. Earthworm Jim, I think, was in there for about 30, 40. Obviously didn't have enough for that. But to be fair, if you wanted to go into game and you had, £30, you could get £60 in credit quite comfortably. So if there's a new game that you want, for example, Sifu is a game that I've been waiting to get for ages, but even if you want one of the new Pokemon games on the Switch, you can go into game and say you've only got 25, £30, you can spend that and make £50, £60 in credit, maybe even more, and then go and get that brand new game from CEX, providing they have one traded in, and you can get a brand new £50, £60 game for half the price. And that is a beautiful way to do it. I only wish I had a game near me. The nearest game to me right now is, Newport isn't too far away from me, obviously, but it's not in walking distance, which is very frustrating. Anyway, let's talk about the game that I picked up. It is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Great films until you get to is it called Crystal Skull? I can't understand that. But yeah, great films. Really enjoyable game as well. The problem with this is the insert is not in the best of conditions, and it doesn't come with the manual. That is the receipt. I like to keep the receipts of these purchases not in every game, but in a lot of the games on the shelf behind me, there are receipts from when I've picked them up. And the reason I do that, and I've mentioned it before, the reason I do it is because in the future, after I stop recording or whatever it may be, I can go and pick up a game, open it up, and the receipt will tell me a story, and I'll remember things from that time. And obviously right now it's not that big a deal, but in 20 years time, 10, 20 years time, when I'm looking at these games and I'm opening up and looking at the receipt, you get that wave of, oh, I remember that, and I don't know, I'm a big fan of it. The label is in decent condition, to be fair, and that's kind of what swayed me, because the rest of it isn't great. But as you can see, it cost me £15, and I managed to get, like I said, £24 in credit. So I've spent $12.98 essentially. So this, you could argue this has cost me roughly £7 instead of the 15, because I've more or less got it half price, maybe just over half price. So yeah, I think that's a very good way of doing it. The only problem with doing that is, of course, you need an initial balance to do it. You can't just go in and say it's free, because obviously it isn't. You have to spend $12.98 to get the games from game in the first place, and then take them into CEX. So we need to try and make back that £13 that we've spent from this series now, which I've got a few things lined up that I'm going to do. Of course, that does include shaking up the collection a little bit, but I found a few things that I may be able to sell that will make us a bit more profit in this series. But that is for a later video, and that's going to do it for today. So this Mega Drive game, I don't know where it's going to go, but it's going to go on the shelf somewhere. That goes into the collection. Maybe look to get a new insert for this, or a new manual, or maybe even in the future look to sell this and get another one if I can find one somewhere cheap. I'm finding a few Mega Drive games here or there online recently. Looking at eBay's auctions and things, a lot of them do go under value, so maybe we'll have an auction episode soon, in and around Christmas potentially, and maybe this could be one of the games that we look to replace, because the condition of it isn't amazing, but I felt it was too good to pass up this. I wanted this game for a little while now, want to go back and play it, so very happy to put that regardless of condition. So like I said, if you have enjoyed it, do me a favour and hit that like button, consider subscribing if you've enjoyed this and you want to see more, and until the next time, goodbye.